Major Searls with the 1st Civil Affairs Group here on Camp Pendleton, and this is our very first episode of First CAG's Human Dimension. It's our podcast about civil affairs and different things affecting our community and where our community is going. For our first episode, I have with us LtCol Zavalla, the current XO of First CAG, Gunny Schultz, and then Major Bridger, who works in the G9. How are you gentlemen doing?
Doing excellent. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Major Bridger. All right. Well, we're going to get kicked off here with our questions. Colonel Zavalla, thanks again for coming. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, your current CA billet, and your CA experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thanks for having us, Joel. Yeah, Lieutenant Colonel Ray Zavalla. I am currently the Executive Officer for First Civil Affairs Group at Camp Pendleton. My previous billets, I've actually been involved with civil affairs since 2016. My past billets have been the Operations Officer of First Civil Affairs Group and the S6 and a team leader at Third Civil Affairs Group. And since 2016, I've been to several different countries, including Thailand, South Korea, and the Philippines.
Wow, that's a lot of experience. Thanks for sharing. Why are you looking forward to BK24, Bala-Katan 24?
Great question. I'm especially excited because myself and Gunny Schultz have been to the Philippines several times, and my last exercise, I think, was about 2018 for exercise Common Dog.
Absolutely, sir. Understand, yes. Much has changed in our world, especially in that last 5 to 6 years. And where do you see civil affairs going in our community here?
I think, great question. Probably a very long-winded answer that I'll try to condense, but I think it's constantly evolving. A lot of our commanders are now seeing the importance. Our one of I feel our strategic goals is to turn red into blue, which means that we can help win conflicts without firing a shot. And I think it's going to continue to evolve with the confluences of different specialties and MOSs that we have in the Marine Corps, include psychological operations, information operations, and communication strategy. So I'm just happy to be part of it, part of the ever-changing face of civil affairs.
Absolutely. And you've seen it change a lot, probably in your time from when you initially went to CA school to now and then beyond. So, great. All right, Gunny Schultz. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your CA background, and when you came to the community?
Good afternoon, sir, and thanks for having me. Gunnery Sergeant Brian Schultz. I originally joined Civil Affairs in December of 2015, but I was a MAGTF Plans Chief for 3rd Civil Affairs Group, and I was there for about a year. I left for a year, I was mobilized, and then came back, and I actually got the MOS in 2019. After getting MOS, I was the G9 Future Operations Chief. I went to be a Team Chief, and then I spent 2 years as a Group Gunnery Sergeant for 3rd CAG. It was this last October where I transferred to 1st CAG, and I've been the G9 Chief since then.
Amazing. That's a lot of CAG experience. Do you not want to go back to your former MOS?
No, not really. I haven't really participated in it in so long that it wouldn't be beneficial to anybody. I don't have the proficiency in it. And I do like being a civil affairs specialist. I enjoy what our mission is. I enjoy being able to be more operational instead of being locked in a bowl. So I like being around.
Definitely. We're happy to have you, Gunny, and you definitely bring a lot to the table. So not just in skill sets, but also in understanding and being able to apply some of that prior Marine Corps experience to what we're doing in CAG. So why are you looking forward to Bala-Katan 24?
For me, I've been involved with Bala-Katan 23, assisting 3rd CAG with some of their prep work, and then going over and working in the CJIC motive for BK23. Originally, I think it was meant to be more of a transition, or to assist in the transition from 3MEF to 1MEF. But we ended up working in the J9 with all the units that were out there and actually participating and being involved. So for me, it's being able to see the way it was, learning from that experience, taking that, and then making sure that 1st CAG is able to operate and execute what is really a large movement for us. We're moving a large number of bodies to the same or to a single event, which I don't think really happens too much these days, not being any major conflicts about. So I want to make sure that we're going to be kicking this off right and taking the lead and doing well.
Right. Executing as Marines should. That's great to hear. Where do you see CA going in the future?
That's a very hard question to answer, sir. With what's going on with the 17XX and how that translates to the reserve side is yet to be determined, but we've been told our mission isn't going anywhere. But I do believe that we are getting more visibility among the active duty components, and I think our value is being seen and that we're being implemented in a more timely fashion. And I think that's going to give us more results to the Marine Corps.
That's very true. Yes, CA, there's been talk, could be impacted, but so far they've said it won't be by the influence MOS, which is, a blessing for sure, and allows us to keep doing great things and getting to travel the globe and have a positive impact. So thank you for sharing and for coming here. Major Bridger.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Major Bridger, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and experience in CA?
Sure. I guess I think every MOS in the Marine Corps has some sort of connection to civil affairs. My primary MOS is as a judge advocate. A lot of times what that means is that I was involved in authorities and from a very high level seeing operational planning. And I would say my first experience with civil affairs in general was probably looking at information-related capabilities and the application of authorities to conflict, and watching those information-related capabilities, including civil affairs, actually have meaningful impacts on operational environments. And I was fortunate early on in my career to be a deputy staff judge advocate for U.S. Marine Corps Forces Cyberspace Command. While there, General Reynolds was standing up, what started as a cyber electronic warfare coordination cell ended up being information-related capabilities, and I think ended up kind of evolving into what we have today with information-related MOSs coming together, working together with that common goal to influence the operational environment and the cognitive domain. So following my active duty career, I left active duty in 2018. The first place I went was 4th Civil Affairs Group. I started there as a rule of law officer when we still had those. And the idea was, as a rule of law officer, you were going to be, when you did activate, you were going to go as a subject matter expert and help in governance type issues, right? We talk about that military governance or transitional aspect of governance. Mm-hmm. And that was that respect for the rule of law was kind of why we had judge advocates. We ended up eventually getting rid of that, and I loved civil affairs so much that I decided to stay after they did. I went to McMoss back in 2019, mm-hmm. and then subsequently deployed as a CA team leader to Marine Rotational Force Europe in Norway. And then after that, I got selected to become a detachment commander at 4th Civil Affairs Group, and then eventually became the G9 operations officer here at 1st Civil Affairs Group. While just before I transitioned here, I had the opportunity to also activate in support of Operation Allies Welcome, which was the Afghan refugee mission following the fall of Afghanistan back in 2021. So that's been my experience in civil affairs.
That's a lot of experience in a lot of different ways, especially being the rule of law attorney. I forgot about those. Thanks for bringing that up. So what are you so excited about for Balakatan 24?
I'd say just the opportunity to have meaningful impact with our allies. We obviously respect the partnership that we have with Philippines. They're a long-standing partner in the region, and I look at working shoulder to shoulder with the Filipinos in their communities and identifying needs, concerns, things that we can do to support and help not just the Filipino Armed Forces of the Philippines, but also the Filipino people. And so I look forward to making those relationships and having meaningful impacts.
Definitely. We need to keep building those in the Philippines. That's a strategic point for sure. So where do you see the civil affairs community headed here in the next few years and beyond?
I've thought about this quite a lot. I think sometimes this is one of those areas that might be Back to the Future. Not to do a movie reference or something like that, but one of the things that the Marine Corps always tells us is that we've got a lot of experience with small wars, right? We talk about the Small Wars Manual, and I think when we talk about our experience doing counterinsurgency or in small island nations and how we used to operate, I don't think that we've looked at that manual in the right way for some time. Partially because it's historical and not necessarily doctrine anymore, but that is our history. One of the things that I think Marines, especially in the civil affairs community, would be interested in is just how prominent the role of a civil affairs officer and a civil affairs team is in the Small Wars Manual. It was considered essential to all military operations, especially if you're in a place that you're planning to maintain and create some presence and good relations with the civilians, the civilian populace, and making sure that they're taken care of was always seen as integral to operations. And I think that taking some of those lessons learned and moving it forward to the current operational environment, it might be a little bit of Back to the Future and seeing an increase in the importance in civil affairs, especially in a dynamic operating environment.
Very much so. The things will come back, like the Small Wars Manual and, the time of the Marines and some of their work in the Philippines over about 100 years ago now. So that still is important. So I see what you're saying. And thank you for bringing that up. Well, I don't know if you gentlemen have any saved rounds, but if you do, feel free to share them.
Just appreciate you having us here today and look forward to continuing discussions in the future.
Thank you, Chris. It's been great having you, gents. We're going to wrap up here, and we look forward to our next podcast. If you've got questions or comments, drop them into the comment section here on YouTube. And thanks for listening. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, sir.